Hey, what's up, people? This is your favorite podcast, the fellas of the GQ podcast, just chiming in on the recent, what you want to say, fellas, outcome of the Deshaun Watson suspension. What y'all think about it? What you got on it, Bugs?
Honestly speaking, I just heard, a lot of the specifics. I was trying to look more into it because I thought, when people say multiple cases, well, it was just my mind. I went to maybe 5 or 6, but then come to find out, we talking over 20 cases of the same thing. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It's like you're going to get it from both sides. I feel like this is one of those things where it could be either or. Those that feel he may not have done it that way, because let's be clear, and I'm going to put this out there from my standpoint. This man is an NFL player. If he was inappropriate with some people, whether it might have been forceful. I'm not saying it wasn't forceful, and I want that to be put out there too. But at the same time, if you're giving them some women, and let's call it what it is, or maybe you meant for them, if you giving a massage to an NFL football player, and you think there's something that he may want from you or do, I mean, some are willing to do it. I won't say every case may be forcible, but you're going to have the ones that are going to say, the ones that don't think he's guilty, saying that's too harsh because did he really do this? Did he really do it? Is this what he did? Or you're going to have those that say, I don't think 6 games is enough for what he did because that's ridiculous. He needs to be like a whole season out, or he needs to be this. So that's my input on it. Right now, I'm neutral. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say I don't have enough info to say my bias on what it is. But the 6-game suspension is what it is. And I heard he's not going to field. So.
What you got, Shad, PJ? What's up? What y'all think about it real quick for the people? We know y'all missed us.
I'll let PJ go last. He's in the
So where there's smoke, there's definitely going to be some fire. There's no way that there's going to be this many women saying something about whatever and there not being any truth to it. However, he didn't get charged. But if the NFL sees it as, he did go against the code of conduct or whatever, all right, sure, tack some games off of him or whatever. But at this point, until he's actually proven guilty, there's not much more you can do other than suspend him. But when it becomes multiple women saying the same thing, there's always going to be some truth. And not to get off the subject, but it also, the other person that's in the news right now is Mystical for the third time being charged with sexual assault or rape. There's something there, you know what I mean? So when it becomes that many, you got to look at it for what it truly is.
Well, let me play before y'all go.
Hold up. Let me say something real quick on that Mystical thing.
Go ahead.
Let me say something real quick. He already did jail time for the exact same crime. Like
he pled guilty.
Right. He pled guilty, did 6 years, and then he was charged with it before. When he got out, those charges fell off. Now this is the 3rd time, like you said, but he already served time from the original time. With the Deshaun Watson thing, real quick, my quick thing is that 2 grand juries failed to indict, and follow him with him. Then the judge who actually levied the suspension was a female judge on top of it. So I think public opinion thinks that we should do X, Y, and Z, I think there's more to it because the Texans also settled 30 civil lawsuits, and there were also several other players that were going to this company that the Texans hired to massage other players. So there's more to it. I think that the Texans did. I just think there's more to the story. I think that the Texans thought that when they gave him the money and he decided to sit out, that they were going to blow him up, but they didn't realize that the other people were involved and they could blow up more in their face than what they expected. But they have longer pockets, so they can sit there as an organization and just pay out the money and keep quiet and let him face it. That's what I got to say about it.
I think the problem with the situation is he was getting on social media finding massage therapists. So he's not even going through the company anymore. He's finding individuals and I'll pay you to come over here and give me a massage. And then just the direction of where the massage goes. So there's people who collaborated the story and the trajectory of how things go with him that aren't willing to prosecute or press charges against them. So there's still people out there that's that's how it happens, but I'm not getting on this case. And there's people who they went along with it, had sex with them, whatever, and they're not going to get involved with it. It's just, I think the problem is if it's realized that he has an issue, which it is because the team knew, and again, like you were saying, they paying out cases. You need to monitor that and like say, yo, you need to go see somebody before this becomes a problem. And I think that when you have that fame and you have that money and everyone around you saying yes, it becomes more of a problem. So the issue of it all, honestly, is not just him. It's the circle around him from ownership the whole way down, because like anyone else, they would say the people around you help you continue doing what you're doing because they're enabling it. So then for them to get out of liability, it's like, yo, throw them in the heat. Because if you don't, it's going to come back on all of us because we knew this was happening because we're paying out cases. So it's just, it's a problem because, you know, you brand new in the NFL and you could have already fucked up your whole career. And the reason why people are getting upset because he's not getting prosecuted is because had it been somebody else, they probably would. But because you're like the biggest name in football right now, according to some, like I think he's like number 3 in the NFL. So because you're that name, we can't really go after you. That's like going after OJ while he's in the league.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to it.
Out of all the,
go ahead. I was just gonna say, did everybody else have anything else to say before we move to the next thing? We just want to give everybody a touch of seeing our faces again.
Out of all those cases, right? You mean to tell me this man forcibly took advantage of everyone that gave him a massage?
Nah, but that's all right. So if you go down that route, you have to go down the same route that we went with Bill Cosby, by saying that it was the fact that he had the power to do it and it was the mentality of doing it. So you have to treat it the same way. You can't just say, oh, well, all y'all had choices and y'all ain't have to come do this. That's the card. But that's the card they played with Cosby. That's the card they played with R. Kelly. Like if you run down that way, you got to play the same way with everybody else.
But I'm only playing advocate. All it takes is 1 or 2 to come out, and then the other ones to say, we did have relations or we did have this when I massaged him, whether it was forcible or not, to say, all right, then I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this. If they're gonna get paid,
but
I'm gonna go get paid.
The problem that he's having is that he had these conversations through social media and through text messages, and they got receipts.
God. And I think the only reason he got suspended in the first place is because, let's be clear,
I think part of the suspension is because we're in the modern day Me Too movement. And I'm not saying, to PJ's one point, there is smoke in there. There's smoke where there's fire. You know the saying. I'm sorry, I sound like George W. Bush right now, but but I think cancel culture, Me Too movement is also playing a part in this matter, because
absolutely
any other time you're comfortable with, if the person wasn't charged, like the court of public opinion is gonna be what it is. But if you found 2 grand juries that didn't find what took place, enough to charge him, all right, you know what I mean? Like you said, where you're just saying, but it's unethical, cool. Then that's what it has to be.
That's the thing. He didn't. There's the sexual assault part can be used because he basically like forced his meat in their hand. That could be used that way. But anything else, it's about what they are trying to charge him with and if it fits what actually happened. And in a lot of cases, they'll try to charge somebody that they really don't want to be indicted with the wrong charges, so that it doesn't go through.
Yeah, you trump up the charges, make them way too high, and you can never. And now
I can't prove that. I can't justify that with what I'm doing. So it's like it's just about how they're doing it. But I mean, morally, what he did is fucked up.
But at the same time, a lot of people want to throw the book at people. You know what I mean? So it's the difference between somebody saying it's something being first degree murder or manslaughter. The family's going to be like, no, we going for first degree murder. And like, no, we can't prove that. But that's what they want. And then the person gets off, and then you're like, you don't have any. You're not just. There's no justification for it. So
right.
Cool. So we gonna leave that there. Let me ask y'all real quick though. I'm gonna ask
more happy endings in the boom boom.
Just a real quick yes or no from everybody. Let me put our race card in there real quick. Do you really think that the law would protect a young black man in his prime with sexual allegations if they were true. Like we see Michael Vick go to jail for the killings of dogs.
This is different. This is
Go
different. This is it's money now. It's beyond him just being black. It's a lot of money behind that dude.
Michael Vick was black.
Michael Vick ain't had no money behind him at that point.
Nah, Michael Vick was the league.
Michael
Vick was the league. Nah,
but
Michael Vick was the league.
I'm not saying he wasn't the league. I'm saying he didn't have the money that Deshaun has behind him at that point when that happened.
Nah, when Michael Vick got arrested, he was the first quarterback with $110 million. That's 20 years ago. I mean, that's almost 20 years ago. So the progression is because of Michael Vick. But
the progression, absolutely. But they're not on the same level right now.
They were, is what I'm saying.
But if you look through the track history of the NFL, whether it was raping, whether it was drunkenness in public, even when Plexico shot himself, if it's domestic dispute, the NFL followed the same pattern and maybe occasion through to where they didn't. Where it's like, if they don't condemn you, I won't need it.
Okay.
When you're convicted out there, I got no choice. My hands are tied because I'm not gonna let you mess my brand up. If they convict you out there, I can't let you come in here and act like everything's all right at home.
And that's the thing.
If you get off or you get this or they give you light sentences, I'm gonna give you light. Whatever you get out there and get yourself into, it's the same thing I'm gonna give you when you come back.